The first plant race was created about 100 billion years ago in the Pegasus galaxy. They were brought to the Milky Way galaxy by us the Riskians. We kept the original strands of DNA from the first plant races in our lab on the Atlantis fleet. There are 391,000 species of plants. There is 20,000 types of fruit and berry plants, 2,000 of which are found on Earth. There is over 49,000 poisonous plants. Some of these plants can be used to heal as well. Plants are beings that can generate energy and even food and water based on environmental conditions. Plants were invented by us the Riskians, and are usually kept alive in light and water. The word plant and planet tell you there is a connection between the planet and the plants. This is because the planets were planted by the All, and in fact the planets are plants. The plant race were planted in the Vega star system. We the ancients began making garden planets. The Vega star system, which is located in Lyra. The Vega star system is 25 light years from Earth. This is why you refer to plants as vegetation. They lived on about 2,300 different planets in the Vega star system in the third to fifth dimension. We, Riskians and others also decorated our planets with higher dimensional plant beings. Also keep in mind the word plan is in plant, as in plantee, the plans of tea. The word plan means a detailed proposal for doing or achieving something. An intention or decision about what one is going to do. To decide on and arrange in advance. A design or make a plan of, something to be made or built. A lot of higher dimensional races keep them as pets. Like we said, many races mixed with each other. The plants mixed with reptilians, Hindus, feline beings, and other types of humans. Some plants mixed out their species and created new races. Just like if a so-called white mix with a so-called black or a Chinese mix with a black, you really get a different species or race. Plants mixed with reptilians. Now you got carnivore plants, such as the dragon plants. They were humanoid plants from the waist up, but have snake-like tails below the waist. The Sluici reptilian plant beings have long been supporters of the Republic, and have shared their technology freely with other member planets. They were known as a plodding, methodical race which had an easygoing attitude and never seemed to get excited. The Venus flytrap plants. These plants eat meat from crossbreeding. Most plants are liquiditarians and lightitarian. Their species was the product of genetic engineering. Unlike many true near humans, the humanoid plants were not known to be able to interbreed with any other humanoid race, but some humanoid types pass from their bodies and decide to come back as plants. The Hindus are a type of humanoids and were able to mix with the plants. Most of all the plant races possessed emerald green eyes. They were also night blind, being unable to see whatsoever in light dimmer than that provided by a full moon. Their enemy is a parasitic worm known as the jumpers, the disagreeable plants and other parasites. Plants on other planets might breathe different gases. There are many different types of plant races. Many different mixes. Many races began mixing, slicing, or evolved their DNA with each other to make treaties, and some for to advance their race. Alcohol has no intoxicating effect on plantoids. However, refined sugar has a comparable one. A tablespoon has the effect of 4 ounces of strong liquor for a plantoid. Some plants eat insects and some eat humans and other animals. There is plants smaller than humans and there are plants larger than humans. They could be found in the dangerous jungles of the many different terror-type planets' surface. Touching the blood-red inner flesh of a man-eating plant's petals would activate its reflex, which causes it to react with a swift, powerful movement. The prey, now trapped by the plant's powerful and sticky petals, would be painfully digested alive. The amoeba plant-like people of Venus. I think John Carter called them voodoo people. They are humanoid Venus flytrap people. The race appears to be human, but they are most certainly not. Each member of the race has a red line running down the center of their bodies. The two halves of their bodies are slightly less symmetrical than a true human, not enough to make them look unattractive though. The race's method of reproduction is to split down this line into two halves. Sometimes, although rarely, one of the halves will fail to develop properly and will be incapable of reproducing. They open their bodies like a Venus flytrap to eat their prey. These people eat humans and other beings that stay on Venus. The guy John Carter, who is a high priest in the Leviathan order under Zecharia Sitchin. They wrote the truth about these beings in novels, comic books, and thought we would never read. They thought we wouldn't figure it in or figure it out. They ran ahead of us and took our information and put it out. This is so that when we come out with it, it will look like we took it from them. They write movies and comic books about these things to make it look like they made it up. You can't make nothing up in this dimension, the third, like we said, without pulling it from the mental plane first, which is the fourth dimension. If a creature was lured within proximity of the petals of a man-eating plant, it was unlikely that they would survive. Most plants eat sun, starlight, and drink water. Photosynthesis converts carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and glucose. Cellular respiration converts oxygen and glucose into water and carbon dioxide. Water and carbon dioxide are byproducts, and ATP is energy that is transformed from the process. They have green blood, which is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green pigment found in plants. Plants use chlorophyll and light to make food. People use chlorophyll as medicine. Common sources of chlorophyll used for medicine include alfalfa, algae, and silkworm droppings. Chlorophyll is used for bad breath and reducing colostomy odor. There are tree races inside the plant race. One race is called the Tetai. The tree race are a species of animate trees exhibited both sentience and the ability to speak. Like ordinary trees, the beings rooted themselves into the ground and spread their leaf-bearing branches upward, making them tower over from 1 to 1,200 feet tall in height. The trees were able to use their branches as fine manipulators, grasping and using tools. For instance, members of the species had two large, teardrop-shaped eyes and a large mouth on one side of the trunk. A long, red tongue lay inside the mouth, facilitating the facility of speech. Lids covered the eyes, blinking intermittently. The eyes of at least some of the talking trees were brown in color, as was their bark. Their leaves were green. With eyes and mouth closed, a member of the species easily passed for an ordinary tree. Talking trees spent at least part of their time with eyes and mouth closed, causing them to blend into their arboreal surroundings. They were capable of speaking at least one language. The talking trees were sapient trees found on the forest moon of Inadare. They communicated with a crystalline language as well as pheromones. These pheromones were used to influence other species during negotiations. They also displayed a form of powerful telepathy, which allowed relatives to communicate even at interstellar distance. Plantoids favored the mental over the technological. They are a species of shape-shifting sentient plants first encountered on the planet Ryuk. Ryuk, also called Merkur, is a forested world, located in the Vega star system fairly close to the galaxy's major population centers in the outskirts of the Inner Rim territories. It was close to the borders with the expansion region and relatively near to the planet of Wayland, also called Terra, the original homeworld for the Tetai. It is the homeworld of the Tetai plant/tree species, although the Tetai established a colony on Merkur or Ryuk sometime after leaving Wayland. Some called them the Ryuk people because of the planet's name. Their real name is the Tari people. Tari is one of the names of your planet, because of the tree beings being here. The word tree in our ancient language is Tari or Tiiri. Since the planet Ryuk attracted little attention, it was frequently visited by smugglers, fugitives, and all kinds of other outlaws, which were known to build secret bases in the depths of Merkur's forests. A smuggler, also called a euphemism free trader, was someone who engaged in what was termed as clandestine business, which really means the clan that is destined. Some beings trafficked shipments of goods, slaves, drugs, and other things, underground to prevent taxation and being caught breaking galactic law or some other impediment in the galaxy. In this texts, underground meaning secretly. Not all bad people or angels were kicked out of what they are calling heaven. Some beings waited in the dark zones and ambushed ships and took their goods. Most people moving goods underground are doing it illegal. There is jackers, robbers. These type of shipments were often highly illegal or banned in some sectors. Weapon smugglers are referred to as gun runners. The Tetai have tough gray skin similar to plant bark, multiple thin branching arms, and thick body trunks. Tetai foliage tended to be brownish or black and grew on the upper parts of a Tetai's body. As trees from the plant race, the Tetai survived through photosynthesis, though they also needed some water to survive. The Tetai were extremely long-lived, with an average lifespan of several thousand Earth years. Keep in mind trees were brought to Earth, because at one point your planet was covered with water. So a lot of the life was brought here. So they are extraterrestrials. The Tetai reproduction only occurred once every few centuries. Seeds often remain dormant for more than 1,000 years before germinating. Tetai are capable of changing their size and shape, apparently at will. A skilled Tetai could morph its shape into a roughly humanoid solid tree-like mass anywhere from 3 to 28 feet tall. The shapes and sizes a Tetai could assume ranged from very humanoid to very tree-like, even when asleep or knocked unconscious. When resting, they generally appeared as 16 feet tall tree-like objects. As a result of the Tetai's infrequent procreation and long lives, their population always remained small and quite close to their home world. As plants of the tree race, Tetai had no need for food. They had a greatly reduced need for water as long as they had regular access to broad-spectrum light. A Tetai only had need of 1/10 the water of most other species, but if deprived of sunlight, they would starve, much as other races would when lacking food. Tetai schooled in a special force trance, presumably hibernation trance, could survive almost indefinitely in an area with natural sunlight and water. All Tetai were force-sensitive and learned both the Tetai language and basic from youth. Roughly 4,000 years before the battle in heaven, the Tetai left their home planet of Merkur because of the disagreeable Tetai who became known as the Kurgayans. The Kurgayans are a large imposing tree race who chose to fight with Halal and his people. They are malevolent beings who hate Riskians, humans, and many other races. They think that the higher government of the plant race is soft and shouldn't have made deals with these races to eat their people and other plant races. A deal was made with the plant beings and other races in the galaxy to produce food for the other beings. 20% of the plant race produce food as a deal in exchange for other goods. They think the trees or plant race should be eating humans as well. So these tree beings eat humans and so many other malevolent plant beings do as well. They don't think the plant race should make deals with the humans, Riskins and other races who don't make a even exchange. They can get up to 13 feet tall and are covered in nature runes and sigils, believed to be carved into them by the keepers of the dreaming tree. They lived on the Wayland but left after the war to go to their new planet Kurga named after their leader. Afterward, Tetai never were a common sight across the galaxy. When Wayland was destroyed, however, given the species' long lifespan and germination period, some Tetai might have survived the destruction of their world, awaiting discovery in remote locations. It was known that a clan of Tetais continued to live on Nurit, a temperate moon of the planet Osses. By the era of the Second Galactic Civil War, the species was considered a myth. Keep in mind plants' trees can get in height from 1 inch to 1,200 feet tall. They can weigh as much as 1 gram to 5 million pounds. The top ones are the tree races that get very tall. They range from 4 million different colors throughout the galaxies. There is 3 classes of plants, which are flowers, vines, and trees. Some of the plantoids join with the Galactic Republic Empire Draco-Reptilians. They lost and were kicked out of the 5th dimensions. In the picture above are an advanced balloon plant race that grow in the sky of their planet. They breathe helium, they look like jellyfish plants or hot air balloons. They can live for thousands of years. There is a type of these beings on Jupiter. These plants are in what we call the plant mafia. They protect their self from being preyed on. They have thorns that will poke you, like spikes. There are 2 different types of plants in the mafia.